All right, so welcome everybody. It's the 25th of May and we're having our weekly MPA call. Jeff and Sandy, good to have you on board. Neither one of you were on the call last week, were you?
No.
Okay, so last week did you watch it?
Yep, and I did the homework.
And you did the homework, good girl. Jeff, did you have a chance to watch it? No, but we've been going through those in our other calls. Okay, great. Sandy, let's start with you. Any questions that you have regarding the lesson and the homework?
No, basically because I already keep a spreadsheet anyway, so I just kind of reorganized it a bit, and put like the income and then the savings, under one another, whereas I kind of, just had everything previously running through one another.
Right.
So now it's just basically, it has a different organization.
Okay. All right, good. Any ahas that came from you re-going through those numbers and understanding what was coming in versus what was going out?
Well, I think it's an interesting concept because, it's all new to me as an entrepreneur. So, this is like, starting a business 101 kind of thing. Like, how does this all work? And like I said yesterday, I'm glad I'm getting started on the right foot, instead of making a bunch of unnecessary mistakes and then having to, go back and relearn something. Whereas a lot of people that are already in coaching or, have existing businesses and maybe have used another process, or, have to relearn something. And a lot of times that's a lot more difficult than, if you get started out on the right foot in the beginning. So exactly. I'm happy about that.
All right,
I'm happy about knowing nothing.
How about you, Jeff? Oh, we can't hear you.
Oh, he's muted.
Hold on, I'll unmute you. You good?
All right, no questions. Just I filled in a lot of it. I have to kind of dig for a couple of other things. So.
Okay. All right. Now, Sandy, you put together basically a profit and loss sheet. What comes in, what goes out. What I want to introduce to you today is more of a budget analysis worksheet where you're going to take the numbers from your profit and loss and incorporate them into a tracking system for a monthly budget sheet. And I'll show you what I'm talking about right now. Okay. All right. So you should be able to see my screen.
Yeah.
Right. So what I have here is what I like to call a balance sheet. And we use this balance sheet to track on a monthly basis the money that you expect to come in versus the money that actually comes in.
Yeah.
And then the expenses that come in or you're paying versus the expenses that you actually pay.
Yeah.
Now there's two sheets down here and I'll post this so you guys have access to it. There's one sheet that is all business related. And there's another sheet down at the bottom that's your home. Because we talked about the importance of managing your home finances just as important as managing your business finances. So let's start with the business finances. We start with the income coming in. And I always like to classify the income coming in categories. Number one is recurring revenue. And that's revenue that you know is coming in over a period of time. So for example, if you have a client that's paying you $100 a month for the next 6 months, that's considered recurring revenue for the 6 months. Right? New revenue is brand new revenue that you've generated in that month. It's not recurring, it's new for the first month, but they might have signed an agreement that they're going to be with you for 6 months. So months 5 through 6 will be the recurring component of that. All right. Now, I also like to consider tracking based on the different types of income. So let's use mindset, for example, your mindset program, Sandy, for example. So you have your financial program, right? So we would have one category here for your financial recurring revenue.
Okay.
And then your financial new revenue.
Okay.
And then your mindset program. So mindset recurring revenue and mindset new revenue. So we're tracking we're tracking based on the types of revenue that you're generating.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if that was, that would be something that I would do to kind of clarify things as well. So
well, there is no right or wrong way to do this. All right. You do it in the way that works for yourself. I'm just going to give you all kinds of suggestions and you pick the way that works for yourself.
Okay.
Now, typically you would track your recurring revenue either on another spreadsheet or within some kind of software, like, some folks use MindBody or Zen Planner or whatever, but somewhere you want to be tracking who your clients are, what revenue you're expecting to generate from them each month, so you have a running total of what your revenue looks like. And that becomes your budgeted amount for that month. So let's just say this says we're in January, let's make it real and put it into, we'll put it into June. We'll start with June. So let's just say for June, we have $5,000 in recurring revenue. Actually, we'll split it. Mindset revenue is $2,500. Recurring, financial recurring is $2,500. All right. And we've tracked it on a separate sheet or in a separate system. So Jeff, all of your different revenue streams would be built out here where we're tracking who is paying what. We know what's recurring. Okay. You put that in the budget. As folks actually pay you, and we talked last week about, tracking this weekly, tracking it daily. I like to do it weekly. As folks pay you, you put the amount that you've put in the bank as your actual. So we're in the first week of June, one client paid you $1,000 here, another client paid you $500 here. Okay. Notice that in the red, it's totaling for us. Okay. Let's not worry about these two line items. I'm going to take them out actually. So don't touch the red. Those are formulas.
Yeah.
Okay. In the expense section, this is what you are budgeting to pay out each month. All right. So owner pay, what do you pay yourself each month? Okay. What do you need to put into your tax savings account that we talked about last week? What are you putting into your savings account? All right. What other expenses do you have here for your business? And you just put them on. And we talked about doing an analysis of what you've paid out over the last 4 or 5 months since January, taking the average and putting it here as your budget. All right. What is office expenses? Do you have a meal and entertainment account? Right. All of the monies that you pay out on a monthly basis get tracked here. If you have, this is what we talked about, if you have any credit card or debt balances that need to pay down, that's what goes here. This is not the credit card that you pay off every month, because all of those numbers should be incorporated throughout the rest of these expense items. This is debt that we're paying down. All right, so let's just say we're going to pay $100 down. All right, so notice here that it's also tracking what our total expenses are. All right. And then there's a line item here called remaining dollars. This is the revenue minus the expenses. That's what's left over at the end of the month. Now, I like to see this number to 0, all right, because all of your money should be accounted for, right? So if we have excess, then that just means more is going into our savings accounts, all right? If we have a negative, all right, let's just put some extra money in here somewhere. If we have a negative, so this is now, oops, wow, we're making a lot of money. Payroll expense, that's always a good one.
I want that account.
All right, now we've got a negative, $600, all right? What this tells me, given that these are all set in stone expense items, is that I need to generate more revenue for that month, right? Which becomes my, I hate to call it goal, but it becomes my goal in terms of revenue. So in the budget section, in the new revenue section now, I'm going to put in that I'm going to generate $600 of brand new revenue. I got to go sell. And I got to sell $600 so now this comes down to even.
Even if that's a projection, you put it in there?
It's because it's a goal.
Okay.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, you need to have some kind of direction to go to.
Yeah.
All right. You don't always just want to stay static with your recurring. Your recurring is great. What's ideal is for recurring revenue to incorporate all of your expenses on a monthly basis. When you know your expenses are at $5,600 a month and your recurring revenue by itself equals $5,600 a month, that's beautiful, right? That means that you're already at a break-even budget or business, which includes savings, paying yourself, and tax savings, right? And that's an awesome place to be. That means that you start each month not chugging behind.
Yeah.
Okay. But so Sandy, to your question, you always want projections to be there. Always. So even if it were zero, here without any new revenue, I would highly recommend you put new revenue in. Okay. Because you're going to track it each week. And that in the middle of the week, you're going to go, oh, cool. I got $300 more to go. I got one more client to get to hit my projections for this month.
Okay.
And remember, every time you're hitting projections, you're increasing recurring revenue because most folks pay on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
You want that recurring revenue to increase, right? Now, one other thing about the projections for recurring revenue is, you're going to know for the entire year what your recurring revenue looks like because you'll have mapped it out as clients come on board. So you'll know that, okay, maybe I'm at $2,500 here, but in October it drops to $500 because some clients drop off. So you'll know that, oh, I need to sell. I need to do some more marketing. I need to get new revenue in the door because my revenue is going to drop off in October. Okay, this is where good financial planning and good tracking helps you make smarter business decisions. Okay. Now, remember that these numbers from an expense standpoint are your budget numbers. Okay, so you don't want to go over those budget numbers. So each month when you review your expenses, your finances, each week when you review your finances, you're going to go in and say, all right, I paid $25 here. I had to pay $50 here. I went out and I did $75. Whoa. Okay, I can't do that anymore. I'm over budgeted in meals and entertainment. I'm not going out to eat anymore. That's it for that budget. Right? And I need to find somewhere else where I can cut back. You are not allowed to cut back on these three.
Okay, yeah.
You are not allowed to cut back on these three. What's the purpose of having a business if you don't pay yourself first? Right? You must pay yourself first. So that's why these numbers are at the top, and that's why they're the first ones we look at. Some of you, I don't know how you guys pay yourselves, but some folks like to pay themselves weekly. Some folks pay themselves twice a month. Some folks pay themselves once a month. However you do it, money needs to go in here. And what I would also recommend, as Gary explained last week, is make sure that you have separate accounts. All right, so that you're putting your pay into a home account, maybe to pay for your home expenses. Your tax is going into a separate tax savings account, so you don't touch it until it comes time to pay for your taxes. Your savings account goes into a separate savings account. I got one guy who literally goes to Wells Fargo with a check to deposit into a savings account each week because he doesn't want to touch it. He makes it difficult to get the money out. He can't do it online. He can't do it by phone. He has to physically go to the bank and withdraw the money. All right. That's really important. Now, the other thing that we have here is our our home budget. Okay, so they're kind of linked. We talked about owner pay from the business side that could fuel your home side, right? So whatever money you have coming into your home budget, you put here as income. So Sandy, right now it's probably both kind of muddled, right? You've got
Yeah, of course, yeah.
kind of mixed together.
Yeah.
It separates. All right.
Yeah, I know. Well, I made a separate one for business as well, but it hasn't been activated yet.
So I don't know tax-wise how your business expenses will relate to your taxes because I'm not an accountant.
Yeah.
Whatever, the way I always like to look at it, and again, I'm not an accountant, so forgive me here. Whatever money becomes deductible from a business standpoint goes on your business spreadsheet. All right. Whatever money is, whatever accounts are purely home expenses and do not get deducted as a business expense are your home expenses. Jeff, does that make sense? Because you're kind of muddled too. You've got a lot of different endeavors that can kind of get conjoined, mingled. So from a home perspective, again, look what's first: personal savings and tax savings. Okay. And then groceries, dining out. I mean, you guys, this is all good stuff. You understand all this, make it your own. Right? But again, whatever you put here, that's your budget, right? We have Netflix too. We have a crazy cable. Phone is much better now, thank goodness. But we know exactly what we need to pay out in each account each month, and I watch it religiously. Every week I do go in and I fill out a spreadsheet that looks just like this, right? What I've even done, which is a little bit different, is that I know what of these expenses we put to a credit card so we can get points, and what comes right out of a checking account, or what is just like cash on hand, and I mark that. So I know, all right, this is coming out of the credit card on this day, this is the checking account on this day, so I can completely track. And then I track each week what we spent. Excuse me, and Eric and I meet once a week on Friday. It's not a long meeting, it's 10 minutes, and we review, this is where we are, this is what's happening. We good, we're good. We got to cut back, we cut back. Okay, makes sense. Any questions on any of this?
Nope.
All right, good. So this, mindset, obviously, you just heard this yesterday, Sandy, is so important. Jeff, you've heard this all along, is so important to running a business, right? Understanding what's happening in your business is the next most important thing. You have to understand the numbers, because by knowing the numbers, you're going to be able to make smart business decisions. So many people want to just stick their head in the sand and ignore the numbers, and they don't look at them because they don't want to know, and they're flying blind. But you can't make right decisions without understanding your numbers. Not just from a financial standpoint, but from the sales and a marketing, staffing. All the metrics are important because that's what's helping you make the smarter decisions for your business. Okay. So I will just take away all our plain numbers, and I'll load this into the MPA. They've changed Zoom, and I don't know how to get rid of this little thing over here.
Oh, that's what Gary said yesterday. He got a new version.
I'll figure it out later.
He couldn't find
I'll
stuff.
load it into the MPA files, so you'll see it in the files section of the group page.
Okay.
You can pull it down and make it your own. Some people keep it in Excel. Some people use whatever Mac program. Some people use a Google Sheet. Either way works. Just it's the mechanics that you want to make sure you have in place. All right. Well, are there any other questions that you have? Sandy, you had some questions about rolling out your programs.
Yeah, I didn't know if there was a certain approach or, manner to do that, or recommendations or whatever, as far as presenting that, it's probably better not to present all three at the same time, because that might be a little bit too much, or.
Well, I think both you and Jeff are in the same boat. You started to build a really good following on Facebook, right? You're consistent on your Facebook posts. You know, people see you, they like what you have to offer. Start developing your posts in the manner that Brian laid out, you know, the 6 steps.
Yeah.
And each week ask the question and then invite, right? So maybe next week becomes about, since we've been talking about finances, becomes all about understanding your financial health, right? And you can post about that and then ask a question, you know, do you know how much money comes in or what you're spending your money on each week? And then invite them if you'd like to understand more about it, or if you'd like some help in setting up your financial well-being, message me. And that's how you can introduce them to the finances piece.
Yeah, okay.
Right? Same thing with the other program.
Yeah, okay.
Start driving to it through your Facebook postings, right? Ask the questions and then do the invitation or the call to action.
Okay.
That's the best way to start. We can talk about marketing funnels and Facebook ads and all that other kind of stuff, but I don't think you need to go there yet.
No, I don't think so either. You know, I also have to see what my response is going to be on Saturday because I have a list, you know, I have a list of all 3 there. So I'll see, you know, with the, you know, like you say in the videos, you know, this way I have 3 different courses and 3 different price ranges that I can offer, you know, and so if somebody doesn't want to go all the way from coaching, they have 2 different options, you know,
exactly.
to start out with as well. So,
good. Do you have your format for Saturday identified?
yeah, I have it all set up. In fact, I changed my presentation a bit yesterday. I modified it a little bit and I have to print it out again. And I've been practicing it this week, you know, so getting comfortable, getting more familiar, not just, you know, mentally what's in there, but verbally saying it. So, you know, then it flows easier instead of, you know, saying something the first time and stumbling.
Is there any chance that it could be recorded?
Well, I know you mentioned that. I'm going to try. I have to see, you know, it's in a restaurant, so I'm not sure, you know, how big. We try to sit in the back and where it's not as noisy, but I mean, I can try and record it, like you said, you know.
So it's in a restaurant in your own room, or will you all be at a table?
We're at a table.
Okay. Will you have a friend there?
No.
No. Okay. I mean, even if it's just somebody taking their iPhone and recording a portion of it, because as we talked about, what's so important is you being able to see how you are in front of a group.
Yeah.
You know, you can hear yourself, but until you see, like this kind of see, you don't really know what you sound like or how you're doing.
Okay.
So if you can get a friend to go there, that would be great, and they can just record not the whole thing, just part of it, so you get a sense of what your presentation skills are like.
Okay.
All right, great. All right, Jeff, what about you? Any more sales?
Nothing.
No? How about in terms of communication and follow-up and driving folks to ask the questions?
Doing better. I asked a couple that started, couple athletes that started yesterday. So I planted the seed, and we're going to talk about it more on Thursday.
Excellent. Good. How was State Cup?
It's the 5th or 4th. June 4th.
Oh, sorry. I thought it was last weekend. Not yet, huh?
Nope. It's going to be interesting.
Well, we're all booked for Colorado. I'm expecting to see you there.
I hope so.
Jeff coaches a soccer team.
Okay.
My daughter plays on a soccer team in club level, travel. And so my daughter won her Florida Cup, so she gets to go to nationals in Colorado, and Jeff is playing on the 4th. So we're hoping to hang out together. That would be awesome. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, are there any other questions that you have, Jeff?
No.
Okay.
Just execution time.
Execution time, exactly. Well, let's work on getting finances in order. Sandy will take a look at yours over the next week, and the same with you, Jeff.
Yep.
Okay.
I want to actually look at them and see that they're done and that they're being used, more importantly.
Yep.
Always important.
Yeah.
All right, great. Thanks, guys. Take care and holler if you need anything.
Bye.
Okay, sure. Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.